Why does Arthur's redemption matter? Why and how does he actually attain redemption? Arthur's not a good man, but he's not a bad man either. At first I thought it was selfish that Arthur changes only after he's sick. But after sitting with the story for a long time, I realized something deep about Arthur's redemption and why it matters. This video is the result of a long time with the story. So sit back, relax, and let me show you the secrets of Arthur's redemption. With Arthur's story, it's important to start at the beginning, before the events of the game. We all know that he gets taken up by the Vanderlyn gang, specifically Dutch and Hosea, at a young age. His father and mother were nowhere to be found by the time he was found by the gang. So he grows up in gang life, and we cannot fault him for that. He's sort of a product of his circumstances. However, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have the capacity to choose things, and he makes a lot of choices along his way. One in particular that happens before the game is his run-in with his first romance. He has a kid named Isaac. Depending on different sources, the girl's age varies, but I think we can assume that her age is 19. And the main source of this information is this ride with Rain Falls.
I had a son once, years ago. Don't talk about him much.
Oh, what was his name?
Isaac. His mother, Eliza, was a waitress I met. When she got pregnant, she knew who I was, what my life was. I didn't want to promise nothing I couldn't keep, but I said I'd do right by them. Every few months, I'd stop by there for a few days. He was such a good kid. She was too, I guess. Just a kid, 19.
What happened?
I got there one day and saw two crosses outside, and I knew right away. Turned out some bastards had come through, robbed him, and shot him dead, and offered $10. Hardened me, feeling that kind of pain. But I know now that you don't get to live a bad life and have good things happen to you.
I think you're being hard on yourself.
Maybe. All I can do now is try and make some things right.
He got this girl pregnant, and when the time came to be a father, he wasn't around too much. He would visit their place every once in a blue moon. Most likely every couple of months he would stop by for a short time. He wasn't very present in these two lives, and if he was, things might have changed a little bit, because one day he showed up, and instead of finding them at their house, he found their gravestones just outside of the house. Somebody had come by to rob these two of just $10. Now, you might say that's not Arthur's fault, but if he had chosen family life, we've all seen the capabilities that Arthur has with guns. I'm sure he would have defended these two, gave them enough room to escape, or at least died with them. This is not very well known in the story, but I think it's a huge point in Arthur's story. And I feel like you have to know this fact in order to get the scope of what Arthur's redemption actually means. By the time we as players enter the story, Arthur is reluctant to go after John, teasing him, while others urge him to go.
Arthur, how you doing?
Just fine, Abigail. And you?
I need you to... I'm sorry to ask, but...
It's little John. He's got himself caught into a scrape again.
He ain't been seen in two days.
Your John will be fine. I mean, he may be as dumb as rocks and as dull as rusted iron, but that ain't changing because he got caught in some snowstorm.
Please go take a look. Javier?
Yes.
Javier, will you ride out with Arthur to take a look for John? You're the two best fit men we've got.
Now?
We're pretty worried about him.
I know. If the situation were reversed, he'd look for me.
And the fact is that Arthur only goes because Hosea, Javier, and Abigail want him to. And when he does get John, he pokes and prods at him the rest of the story. And since John Marston is the protagonist of the next game, this is a major plot point. How Arthur is treating John in this moment. Arthur really does not approve of his actions. I'm gonna show a few more cutscenes and talks between John and Arthur, which is not what I normally do. If you like it or if you don't like it, let me know and comment below. detail, but I feel like these give insight into how frustrated Arthur was with John, and how Arthur was feeling about himself and his own life.
How you holding up, John?
Fine. Still ain't right, but I'm fine.
You damn well should be after all that bed rest.
Hey, all right. Abigail wouldn't let me up. You know her. She won't be reasoned with.
Well, when you was having a failure of reason, hiding behind your woman, we were getting shot at.
And I'd do the same for you, if you was in a bad way.
I hope so, but I fear you don't know how to help anyone. Except in yourself. Why you being so cagey about all this? Always playing some goddamn game.
Me? I ain't the one taking Jack on fishing trips.
No, you ain't. If you say the boy ain't yours, what's the difference? You probably only run off again.
Why are you so interested in my life? Ain't you got one of your own?
Just do one thing or another. Not be two people at once, that's all I'm saying.
It ain't that simple. You know that as well as anyone. Same as with you and that girl. What was her name? Mary?
And why does he do this? Because John Marston left the gang. He left his family. You might say that Arthur is hurt that his brother left him. I don't think I see it that way. I think that Arthur is more mad about John leaving his family than John leaving the gang. Maybe there's a little bit of both. As the story goes on, he's definitely more irritated that John left his family. It's a big thing for either of these two to leave the gang at all. Both of them grew up together. And Arthur cares about John in this way because he knows. He knows what it's like. He knows the pain of leaving somebody and it going wrong when he could have been there. That was his first chance to leave the life, was that girl and that son. But he had another chance, marry Linton. And Arthur can't get past the gang. He stays in the life despite falling in love with this woman and even proposing to her, wanting to get married. She sees that Arthur can't leave the life and refuses. Because of this, Arthur stays in the life and he does a lot of things within the gang. Of course, he does Blackwater. He does a lot of robberies. He shoots people. He murders people. He does all of this at the cost of not being able to be with Mary. And of course, with being in the gang comes money laundering. Arthur becomes the heavyweight for Leopold Strauss. Because he's in the gang, while he's taking money from a sick man, he gets tuberculosis. This is the real consequence of staying with the gang this long, is this moment right here. He had 2 chances already to get out of it. At this point in the story, Arthur's pretty much set in staying in the gang. However, no sorts of change within his actions have come across his mind. There are moments of reflection that he has, but nothing major like we see at the end of the story.
I know I've been kinda mad with you all. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry, but I want us to get out of here. Everybody nearly gone crazy. I'm just trying to keep things together. Sometimes it gets hard. I guess I'm struggling to just find a path forward for us all. Same as Dutch, same as Hosea. I don't want to die. But if I have to, I will. So, forgive me, all of you.
Soon, however, that'll change. As time goes on, Arthur continues to nag John Marston, saying you should decide on whether you want to be a father to that kid. You can hear it every time they go out together. And at first, John won't even take Jack fishing, and Arthur has to do it for him.
Arthur, come here a minute.
What is it?
Can I ask you a favor?
Probably not.
Very funny. Would you do something with Jack? He seems kind of down. All this upheaval can't have been easy on the poor kid.
Why? Because I'm your preferred nursemaid?
Because he likes you and, well, you know his father's useless.
Okay.
Thank you.
How do I know when I've got a bite?
Well, if you feel the tip of your fishing rod just twitching, Don't yank it yet. That just means one's nibbling.
This is a great fishing spot.
Don't jinx it, kid.
Can I take a break from fishing? I want to make something. Hey, look at this.
What?
This necklace I made.
Necklace?
For Mama.
Sure.
I think that Arthur became the man who he is today by experience. And the reason why he looks after Jack so well is because he himself lost a son. And that's also the reason why he's so hard on John. Getting to Arthur's redemption, the major thing that happens in the story is obviously that Arthur becomes sick. He gets sick with TB, and it's after the bank heist and after Guarma that he gets diagnosed. But before that, during the bank heist, something important happens. During the bank heist, one of Arthur's fathers dies, Hosea. And it's with the death of Hosea that Arthur is given the allowance to see things clearly, to see Dutch's madness for what it truly is. Just that, madness. He starts to question Dutch, and it's in the Guarma chapter that things really start to change. We start to see these actions that Dutch is doing, and not only do we see it, Arthur sees it. By the time he comes back to America, Arthur realizes where this is all heading, and he gets hit with this information.
What is it?
It's not good news.
I guess that.
You got tuberculosis. Really sorry for you, son. It's a hell of a thing.
What do you mean?
You're real sick. It's a progressive disease. You'll be... Well, the best thing is rest. And getting somewhere warm and dry and taking it easy. Now, is that possible?
Sure, I can just take my winters in my country club in California. No, it's not possible.
He knows he's sick, but now he knows he only has a little while to live. In my first playthrough, I thought, how selfish is this? What kind of redemption story is this? A man does bad deeds his entire life, gets sick, and suddenly changes. Is that really the redemption story that we believe? But I think what's significant is what Arthur says in the scenes after. And for the sake of the story, I'm gonna assume that High Honor is canon. After all, redemption's in the name of the game. You can hear him say,
We can't change what's done. We can only move on.
I sometimes wonder if things was ever the way we remembered them. If we were ever who we thought we was.
so how do you rectify an entire life's worth of bad deeds? How do you rectify not being there to be able to protect your child and the mother of your child? How do you rectify decimating the Downs family and countless other people's lives? Stealing, murdering? How can you redeem yourself after all of that, especially in just 6 months? You don't.
I guess I'm afraid.
The reason why Arthur's redemption is substantial is because it is not about him. It is about everybody else. And it's within High Honor that you accept that. You accept that you can't. And that's what makes his redemption special. That's what makes his redemption worth it. You can see his shift late in the game, and it's very subtle. Sometimes it's in side missions. You can skip these things. Edith Downs at Annesburg, or Leopold Strauss throwing him out of the gang, or finding Reverend Swanson leaving the gang for good. A year ago, finding anybody going against the gang would have meant death, or complete exile, or, for John Marston, a huge grudge. But now, he's finding people leaving the gang, and he says nothing about it. In fact, he encourages it. You can find him throwing Leopold Strauss out of the gang, maybe by spite, but he does do that. You can find him urging the women in the gang to leave. You can find him talking to Dutch and urging him to let the women, the children, and all of the family members leave.
I ain't got much to lose, but you know, the women and the children, and John and his family, I'm afraid I have to insist. I mean, we gotta let them go, because if the Pinkertons come through again, they will kill everyone.
John? Insist?
Yeah. Insist.
Of course, pal. Whatever you think is best, I will see to it. Huh? Now,
A man who has stayed loyal to the gang his entire life is allowing others to leave, and not only allowing it, urging them to leave.
I know you. Fight and keep fighting.
Okay. Good luck out there.
Be true to yourself, Mr. Morgan, and leave the lies and the hypocrisy to fools like me.
Arthur's redemption in a lot of ways is about him learning from his own mistakes and making sure that no one else has to make those mistakes or live that life anymore. And the most significant person that this affects is John Marston and his family. Throughout the story, Arthur is poking and prodding at John to become a father, to become a real father. Don't leave again.
Abigail! Abigail! We got you, your son, everything.
We got him!
Mama!
He's fine!
I'm fine, Mama. They fed me good. Italian food. You ever eat that?
Come here, you silly boy. You got him. You got my son back. Dutch, Arthur, thank you. Thank you. I got my son back!
Jack. How are you, boy?
I'm fine, thanks.
Everything's okay now. Abigail?
Can I go play now?
So,
well, we met Mr. Bronte. He is quite a character.
is he now?
You ever meet an Italian strong man before?
Not outside of a circus.
Well, let me tell you all about him. John, you go be with your family. Arthur, thank you. Boys, we got some work to do. Interesting work. But first, let's have a drink. We got Jack back!
Well, the boy's safe, thank goodness.
Thank you, Arthur. I don't know how to say it. Thank you.
I understand.
Come on.
Do as Dutch says. Go be with your family.
And we slowly see the change in John. And I think it's with big help from Arthur that he changes. John starts to change and becomes a father. And when the time comes on that mountain, we have a choice to go back for the money or to help John, but it doesn't really matter. That action right there is not even the main part of redemption for Arthur Morgan. The main part of Arthur's redemption has already happened at that point. John has already decided to become a father. Whether you go back for the money, whether you stay with John, it doesn't matter. He still gets out of there and becomes a father. Arthur himself asks John to leave and to never come back. A big change from earlier in the game where he was asking him to stay with the gang. Arthur dies on that hill and years go by. And in the epilogue, you find out that John did leave and he didn't come back. The weight of Arthur's redemption is now carried by John Marston and the rest of the gang that left. And John becomes a family man. He becomes a ranch hand. And when those outlaw tendencies come creeping back up on him, his wife leaves him. And what does John do? He doesn't go back to the outlaw life. He doubles down on being a ranch hand. He becomes a better ranch hand. And then he starts becoming a bounty hunter for the law, not just an outlaw. He buys his own ranch. And without the promise of anybody coming back to him, he stays there alone, working. And his wife comes back to him. Arthur's redemption is not about him. It's about everyone else. He even tried to save Dutch. The only person that Arthur couldn't save was himself, and he accepted that.